friends. This is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average babes come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A place where being yourself is the ultimate goal, where your opinion, your story, and your individual experience matters. Join me, your host B, and my guests for real and raw talks every week, laying it all out there so we can all help each other learn more, grow deeper, and evolve collectively. Now keep in mind, as a disclaimer, no one here is an expert and no one is giving any advice. This is strictly our opinions, thoughts, feelings, and for entertainment purposes only. Now with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in. Welcome everyone, welcome to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. I hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy. I am the host of the show, and today you guys were on episode 188, What in the Actual Internet, Part 5. Part 5, you guys. This episode is one of my favorites because I find a lot of random shit on the internet that I just want to talk to you guys about, and today is no different, but the only difference is this is the last one of this season and the second to last episode of the entire season. I cannot believe it. Parts of me are excited, parts of me are sad. Sad because I like taking a break, but then I don't because I actually enjoy doing this so much. But then I know that once this is done, that means I'm going to start the fall and winter season. And you guys know how I feel about the winter. I feel like they're so long and drawn out compared to the summer. And so, yeah, parts of me are super excited to have a little break, reset. I'm going to have the same layout for season 8, just a little bit different topics and all that kind of stuff. So super excited for all that. Very excited to take a break. It's going to be really weird. I'm so used to recording every single week, so it'll be strange for me to just sit here for a month and do nothing, but I will be preparing for the next season, so I won't be doing nothing. But anyways, before we get on to these topics today, I just want to remind you, if you are watching on YouTube or Rumble, to like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and comment if you can. Slowly get up there on YouTube, guys. Thank you so much. Rumble is just going off. I can't even believe it, probably because that is the platform besides Spotify and Apple that I've been uploading to regularly for the last couple of years. So that is very exciting. Thank you guys so much for helping there. But make sure you're liking and subscribing stuff, guys, because that helps get me out there. And that also helps me know if you like this and what you guys like. So I know when I'm preparing the next episodes or the next seasons, what topics you guys like, because y'all are like silent. I never hear from you guys, although I appreciate it. I just never know. So hopefully I'm doing the things that you guys like. Either way, if you are listening on those, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications. If you are listening on Apple and Spotify, you can also follow and turn on notifications and leave a review. I appreciate it so much, you guys. There's so many coming in now. I can't even believe it. So that is one way that I also get to know that you guys are enjoying the content. And then if you want to find me on social media, for right now, you can find me on Instagram and Pinterest at the Be Real Babe podcast and Facebook at the Be Real Collective. And you can find me on TikTok. I finally opened up an account there at the Be Real Babe. So if you can find me on TikTok, I am slowly going to start to be posting stuff over there because unfortunately, guys, Meta has been absolutely no help in getting my accounts back. I have been blocked. I've been banned. I've been disconnected from my accounts that I've built over the last 6 years. So many times now I've lost count. And there's no support. And I'm not saying that TikTok is going to have support, but if I'm going to rebuild at this point, I'm going to try and rebuild on a platform that's actually going to maybe push out my content and not block it. I've been just really frustrated with Meta, not only just for what I've been going through personally with my accounts being taken over and hacked and then being booted off for God knows what reason and stuck in this stupid fucking approval process. So at this point, parts of me are just kind of done sometimes with all of the being out of the matrix and all these conspiracy theories, doing that, whatever. I'm also just tired of being afraid of everything and having these accounts taken away from me, which is the one way I can connect to you guys and bring guests on the show, and working so hard and having that continually taken down is super frustrating. So after the third time being blocked on Meta, I'm kind of now going to be looking elsewhere to put my stuff out there and find more of you so I can bring you on the show. We can have more conversations, because that is truly how I am able to get guests on the show. Not only in my personal life, yes, but a lot of that is on social media and connecting to all of you by sharing my honest opinions about stuff or my real experiences and others, and then connecting to others to bring them on the show. So long story short, I'm on TikTok now. So God bless. RIP, thoughts and prayers. Hopefully a bunch of you don't come to me. If I'm quite honest, I had a lot of reasons why I didn't want to go on TikTok. I think at the end of the day, I'm just was scared to listen to other people's opinions or have hate, because you see so much of it. But at the same time, I'm not here to say I know anything, and you guys, I think, know that. I'm just here to talk about shit. And the more I put it out there, the more I can learn myself, right? So let's do it. Let's full fucking send potato into TikTok. Also, probably by the time this launches, I'll probably be on Twitter or X as well, and just see where that is, because y'all, like I said, it's really frustrating to work this hard and get banned all the time and have your views limited and your reach limited. It's not the point of the show. I'm trying to get other people's experiences out, my experiences out, so others can, learn, feel better, feel less alone. And this is not doing it all because I spoke out during the pandemic. So anyways, enough with that. We have a lot to talk about today, you guys, and I'm going to, fingers crossed, try to keep this an hour episode. I really do enjoy putting out ones that are a little less time. I know myself personally, I love watching hour and a half episodes, so let's try to do that. So today in What in the Actual Internet, what are we talking about? Shit on the internet, obviously. There's a theme that I wanted to bring up because I've been, as you guys maybe know, maybe don't, when I'm working, I can't really listen to stuff that for the show where I'm diving deep into things that I need to know on topics, because my theoretical brain is working on work. So a lot of the times I will listen to drama channels and YouTube channels of this drama that goes online. And there has been this really big theme lately that I've noticed, which I think Cat Williams kind of just like pushed us into this, where everything in the dark is going to come to light in 2024. And that is happening at an exponential rate across the board, and I cannot keep up. So there has been this really big theme, though, I've noticed in the last couple of months that I kind of want to talk about, is the fake, and we know this, we all know that people, and ourselves included, and that's totally fine, I'm not shading this or anything, but who we show up online isn't always or entirely who we are. And some people have gone to the level of like full-blown faking it and nothing is real. There has been creators out there that have completely fabricated their whole lives, made themselves seem like they're royalty when they're not. Like, there's a lot of people that could fake a lot of stuff. We know this, right? And there's rage baiting, and there's like, just all these people trying to get attention and all that. And I mean, all of us are at the end of the day, right? We're all trying to put this out there. We're all trying to create, like, and no shade to that, but there seems to be this hookup of people with their parasocial relationships where they really love an online person or celebrity or wherever, and they don't want to hear anything bad about them. It's like, yeah, but he's a good guy. He does charity. All those things. And we're not going to get into like what the boundaries are and levels are. Everyone has their own. But I think one big thing that we all need to understand is that nobody's perfect at any point. And I'm not saying we don't call out those bad things. I'm saying we shouldn't idolize people, especially if we actually don't know them. And I think this is a big testament to where we are in the world, where we spend more time paying attention to people's lives online and what they're doing versus maybe the people in our own lives. And I know for me personally, I've masked social media to being like, well, that's where I could keep up with people. And that's where, and totally, yes. But let's be real for a second. There's a whole other part of social media where we just escape and focus on other people's lives. And I think sometimes, and myself included, we get very committed to certain people that we like or that bring us, that dopamine hit, the things that we love. We love people that are funny and charismatic, and who they show up online is they're so amazing and they're so awesome. Even though we know that that's maybe not them, we build that up in our heads. And then when something comes out about them that's not great, I know a lot of us, and majority of people, especially those that have no awareness to this, the cognitive dissonance comes out, and then you start fighting people online about people that you don't even know. And again, a lot of these apps are designed, and I'm part of the problem. I'm creating content to get you hooked into these things too. So trust me when I say I'm not saying I'm absolved of this. I'm just pointing it out. Then all of a sudden they can't do any bad. And then their stands come for people trying to point stuff out. And so that's the theme of today's episode. I'm going to bring you four, Lord, 4 different episodes. articles, 4 different situations that are very much, we don't want to believe this person did this because they're amazing and we just don't want to believe it. Or, you know what, this person's really not good anyway. So is that a big deal? Like, this person's a piece of shit, and this person's a piece of shit. So, and again, talking about cancel culture and all of that, which I think there's a big difference between calling something out and, discussing it because that's part of your experience to cancel culture, right? I think some people are definitely saying stuff to cancel others, and other people are just sharing their experience, and the mob is expecting the said person to be canceled, right? So I think there's a very big fine line, and it is very cloudy. It's very hard to understand who is saying it for their healing and who's just saying it to go viral on the internet. And it's just, it kind of makes me sad a little bit. So that is the theme of this episode, is 4 different stories. Some of them are kind of connected, some of them aren't, but it's basically about at least one person in this dynamic, his love and respected online, but has done shitty things, and the internet is super divided on it. 50% is saying like it's this person's fault, this other saying, let's forgive it, it's times past. And you guys decide what you think, but again, just understand the theme of this episode. I want us all to be just a little bit more aware of like online influencers, TikTokers, YouTubers, podcasters. We're still regulated, not we, like I'm some sort of famous person. Please don't think that's what I'm saying. But like they're everyday people that do bad things too. And even though they can bring a sense of joy or comfort or relatability or whatever it is that they're positively giving you, two truths can exist at the same time, where maybe they're doing that for you, but they're actually monsters in real life, like Ellen and Oprah and all those celebrities that, it's kind of like, don't forget that we figured this out about celebrities. They're bought and paid for. A lot of them just have a message that they're trying to promote. They're signed to NDAs, da 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 da. And we despise and we're very critical of them. There is no difference anymore, unfortunately, in the influencer space, whether that's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Doesn't matter. Everyone's there to sell you something. I know it sucks. I totally get it. But I think I just want everyone to not be married to the idea that they know someone that they actually don't. Because even in your real life, how many times have you heard something like, let's just say about a couple, and you're like, oh my God, he's been cheating on her the whole time. And you're like, what? Like, they seem so happy together. Like that happens. So why is it so hard for people? Again, myself included. There's some things of people that I like that's come out. And I'm like, damn it. But then check myself. Well, guess what, girlie? You shouldn't have been so committed and love them without knowing. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, I'm going to shut the fuck up or else we'll never get through these stories. So, first one, and again, maybe you guys don't know these people. Maybe you do. I'm not sure. Like I said, I like to jump into this stuff because this does form pop culture, which therefore forms the next generation. And by looking at this, I think we can have a better understanding maybe sometimes to how people react. And that's why I like to talk about it. And also sometimes I like a break. Canadian government is exhausting sometimes, and I just like to escape. So hopefully you guys do. So let's start off with the first article. Everyone, I don't know, I go back and forth with I hear this girl's name, but Tana Mongeau. Everyone, Mongoose. I've heard people say that all the time in different ways, and I don't know if that's just like a joke or something with her or whatever. So if I've butchered that, I apologize. But for those that don't know, she is like just like an online influencer, just like a lot of people from how I know her, how I currently know her, is being the co-host of the Canceled podcast with Brooke Schofield, which we're going to get into her as well shortly. So this one is Tana Mongeau opens up about alleged underage hookup with YouTuber Cody Ko. So I follow both of these people. I like Cody Ko's videos. They make me laugh. Sometimes I struggle because sometimes a lot of these creators are a little bit more liberal and they do definitely call out things in the conspiracy world or the right side. So sometimes I just, take it with a grain of salt because I don't identify with either side, even though I will be voting right. So just, yeah, their stuff's funny. But again, this is the point of people love him. Tana doesn't always have the best background. So they're being like, well, it's just Tana. Anyways, let's get into the article. So this influencer clarified that she does not look back on her relationship with the then 24-year-old as a source of trauma. YouTube personality and podcaster Tana Mongeau has made waves in the creator space with impromptu remarks about fellow social media star Cody Ko having sex with her during a period in which they collaborated on videos when she was 17 years old and he was 25. I'm going to pause that for a second. I'm just going to be real with y'all. I was definitely that younger girl that, would have hooked up with older men, right? Like looking back now, yeah, I could see her saying that, to her knowledge, it didn't seem like trauma because you're 17. And at that time, you're looking up to this guy and you probably really think he's cute and probably want to really be a part of it and don't fully understand the implications of being a 17-year-old hooking up with a 25-year-old. You could be mature all you want in your brain, baby, but in your body, you're still young. And as we know, your body keeps the score, right? So, like, where did that open up to her? And once she accepted that that was okay, did that lead to other things when it led to not the greatest path for her? Even though I feel like she's totally come back and done such amazing things now, she has had a fucking insane life in not very long, from 17 to like now. And so you do have to wonder, you don't look back at as traumatic because it didn't feel like, I think this is one big thing with women that get abused is whether you said no or not. Sometimes it's a really, like, in a dynamic like this with 7, yeah, 8 years old. Even though you don't say no, you want it to be no because you don't really understand at that time. That's where the adult's supposed to be like, this isn't the right time. You know what I mean? I think that's the whole idea, is like, does not matter who this individual was, does not matter if she didn't full blown push him away and say no. When you're that young, I'll say I was in this situation, and someone that much older than you is paying attention to you, that is a whole different world that you don't understand. So that's one thing I think a lot of women just push down and being like, well, I didn't say no. And like, was I uncomfortable? Yeah. In a sense where it's like, he was hot and he was older and I, was so attracted to him, but you know that you're younger and maybe you're not ready for that. That's where the adults in this situation need to be like, it's not the right time, even, you know what I mean? But they don't. And then the girls are like, yeah, I don't want to be a prude because we're sold sex and is how you be cool and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So this just really, I get that she's saying it's not traumatic, because I would say I'd look back at some of my sexual experiences and say they're not traumatic. But if I truly am honest about it, they were, and it's really fucked me up as an adult. But I think, she is quite younger than me. So I do wonder, as she comes into later 30s and really starts to see the toll that all this stuff has taken on your body, which like myself is now going through, I have a different opinion of those experiences now than I did then. You know what I mean? So let's continue. In the live recording of our podcast, Canceled, which you guys should go watch, these girls are hilarious, before Sacramento audience at the end of May, Tana faced a hot seat segment answering a barrage of questions as quickly and honestly as possible. So what they did is they went on a tour, and on the tour, there is supposed to be no phones, no videos, nothing. It's just supposed to be them and their audience, and they can ask questions about anything that was on the show, anything they hear of. And Tana had alluded, to some things. And so they wanted to know who was the smallest dick that she'd ever slept with. And again, remembering that in these, they're not supposed to be going out. There's not supposed to be video evidence. It's not supposed to go viral. So um, her having had this in her mind, she answered honestly, and she said, oh my God, no one look at me, Cody Co. And as the room exploded, she added, I can say that I was literally 17. At the time, they were in California. He in 2015, and the age of consent is 18, and he was 25. She was 17. So I think in that sense, she's just like wanted to say something funny, but then she followed up with being like, "Yeah, I was young." Like, you know what I mean? Like, so this is where it all sprung. It wasn't like she was like, "Oh, he da 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 did this to me," and anything like that. It was more just like, I think, a backtrack of like not trying to have shade, for just like honestly saying who she said. And there's a lot more to this story, you guys. Obviously, when I'm talking about this, I'm just going to talk high level. And if you guys are more interested in these, because maybe there are people that you follow and you didn't know, because if you follow Cody Co and been following these stories, you know that allegedly people have been commenting and comments are being deleted. And allegedly, he contacted Tana before he got married, because he just recently got married last year and had a baby, I believe, the beginning of 2024, which is kind of like, is everything good? Do we need to say anything? Like, trying to address the topic. And, as like she said, as her, it's not traumatic. It's not anything she's holding back. However, this clip went out and he's not addressing it from what I can see. I follow his page. Again, I don't know if I necessarily want to unfollow him, because yeah, I think this is gross and he needs to address it, and he needs to say that he should have been the adult and that he's grateful that as of right now Tana isn't charging him, because again, it's probably a lot harder, but like, isn't going after him. The way the story is exploding is not because she is coming at him saying this happened, da 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 da. It was more just like some stuff that came out on their tour, and it's now blown up because people didn't listen and they fucking recorded, which I think is so absolutely unfair. And she even mentioned, if you guys know who Gabby Hanna is, like back then, Gabby Hanna tried to pull him aside and be like, yo, she's pretty young. So he can't really get away with not knowing. And again, this is all alleged. I don't believe Tana's lying, but that's another thing that she said, which actually really upset me. I did watch her episode with Trisha Paytas, another YouTube person that's actually has had amazing glow up, and I am, for someone that's watched her from all these last years, again, some of these people just go through their mental issues and all of the shit that they're going through, their trauma, online, where a lot of us do it in private, right? So Trisha is definitely one of those people, and same with Tana, that had a really rough start and now are just completely changing and not being around people and not doing things to, you know be popular, make money, get views. It's just like honest to goodness, real life talk. And I think that's beautiful. So she was on the Just Trish podcast. And I feel like people do this to Trisha Paytas too. And a lot of people, as they look at them and they see less because maybe they've had a dark past, and go, oh, well, it was just Tana, or, like, oh, it's just Trish. Like, who cares if she got degraded or abused? And it's like, no. If anything, to be completely honest with you guys, people that put themselves in those type of situations are usually the ones that don't have their value to begin with, because something happened beforehand that made them allow that type of behavior into their lives. And I'm not victim shaming or anything. There's an unawareness when you get abused at a young age that you don't know. You don't know those things. Sometimes you do think that that is love, and that's what you're here for. Like, we don't know what people are fed in their lives. So if someone is seeking out or accepting that type of behavior, I feel like it's because they've been made to believe that from some reason, for either the past. So when I hear and see people that have problematic pasts or going through shit, or especially publicly, like, y'all know I've been through a drug addict, and I was very good at hiding some of those things, and I wasn't a public figure. So I can only imagine how fucking hard that is to go through all of this. And you could say, yeah, they're online. Nobody knew what it would be like to go viral on social media and be popular in this kind of realm. Nobody. So to see now, I think, okay, if you want to start going viral and be a sensation now on social media, I think my empathy for you, for whatever happens, maybe is a little less, because you know that by sharing all of this, that there's going to be other sides of the internet. You can get famous over one controversial clip, or when you're coming out of the bar and you just say something sexual and you can blow, like, we know those things a little bit more now than we did when these girlies started online. We had no idea. It was just new. Like, fuck, I didn't even know Instagram was a social media. I thought it was just for filters. So yeah, I was that girl taking pictures of like a cup just to get a different filter on it to have that photo, or my dinner. So I do feel bad for these women like Gabby Hanna, Trish Paytas, Tana, them all going through this live and having that all of us to learn these kind of understandings of what it's like to be on social media, and them having to go through their hardest times through it, is all I'm saying. So I do feel bad, and I really do hate when people say things, well, it's just them, so they deserve it. I'm sorry. No, I don't believe, unless they are doing this to people and this is a karmic energetic return, and maybe it is, maybe, but I don't think so. So I feel really bad when these things happen and then people are like, oh, but it's just that person. Like, that is disgusting. So yeah, this one, if you guys want to go into it, I know a lot of people say that, I know there's a fine line, you guys, between cancel culture and all that kind of stuff. I think my biggest thing is like, just own up to it and be honest about it, and then maybe carry on. But to completely ignore it is kind of downplaying everything. It's like, well, if you've got nothing to hide, why are you hiding? Like, why couldn't you just come on here and be, look, guys, I was really young. I was caught up in it. I should have been the adult in that situation. Like, she's not pressing charges. It doesn't look like she's going to. I don't know why you can't just come out and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do this. I think that's, to me, deserves a little bit more, maybe not of a cancellation, but definitely understanding that when you preach something, that might not be what you practice. And that's going to be another part of the segment here I'm going to go into next down the road. Not next, because I want to hit the Brooke Schofield one first, because that one's huge too. Is just having the understanding that the people that we love online, they can do bad things. And to sit here and discredit the victims, I think that's the hardest part. It's not necessarily like, okay, let's cancel every single person, but again, being held accountable for bad behavior and acknowledging that was bad and knowing that you're not going to do that again versus cancel culture. If you just cancel people and you remove them, I don't know that we're really fixing the behavior or having them admit to it and work. If you just cancel and these people are never to be seen again, how do you know in their personal lives they're not just going to go do this? So to me, I don't really fully believe in canceling because, again, we can go down that slippery slope and it becomes a slippery slope. Do we need to hold these people accountable? Yes. And what do they need to do? They need to admit that what they did, they need to apologize from it, and then actively show that they're not going to do it. If you're going to sit here and try to hide it that you did that and try to act like you're an amazing individual all the time and you do no wrong and you're calling other people out, I think that's interesting. That's bold. So again, accountability, not cancellation. You did the things, admit it, you're sorry, you grew. And hey, if Tana wanted to turn around and sue you and she had every right, then you did the thing. You did the thing. Allegedly. I don't know. I was there. I'm reading that you allegedly did those things. And by ignoring it and then deflecting it, those aren't the best ways. In my opinion, you got to just admit you did it and say you're sorry and this is what you've done to fix it and these are the reasons why you did that, and you've been actively working to try to make sure that you don't do that to other people, right? Accountability over cancellation, I think, is what I'm hoping for as the vibe in the coming years. Like, let's not say no to survivors. Let's have the victims, let's have the conversations with the abusers. Maybe they don't have to talk, but they definitely need to address it. And no more this deflecting and denying stuff or just ignoring it completely. I think that we need to hold people accountable. And then if they don't and they're just ignoring it completely, that's when I think maybe we could talk about cancellation personally. Like, if you're not going to ignore it and you're just going to carry on and being a shit fuck person, like David Dobrik, for example, you know, that's where I believe cancellation needs to come in, or the whole entire Canadian government, after people have continually been trying to hold them accountable and they don't admit for 1 second that they're accountable. Canceled. So let's go into the next story that actually is from another baddie, I guess I would say. I absolutely think she's one of the fucking funniest people ever. Brooke Schofield. For those that don't know, again, co-host to the Cancel podcast with Tana. Again, don't really know these people. Actually, I don't even know who Clinton Kane is, but it is all over my YouTube page, all over the place. I'm sure once I get more on TikTok here, I'm going to see that all over the TikTok page too. But allegedly, he lied about a bunch of stuff. And I guess this has been known for a little while to some people, but not everybody. And he kind of fucked himself over by poking the bear, and this kind of all unraveled. It's like, if you've got that little hair on your sweater and your ego is like, pull it off because it'll look better without that, and then you just start pulling and then the whole sweater just comes apart. You guys remember that episode of Friends where I think it's one of the very first seasons actually, where they're trying to both date, I think it's Jean-Claude Van Damme or something like that, and Rachel's just pulling at the sweater, and then Monica's pouring marinara in her handbag or whatever it was, or whoever was doing what. Anyways, it's that where you just keep pulling. I feel like if Clinton just didn't say anything and made a TikTok about Brooke, this might have gone away. But okay, so allegedly they dated for a while. Again, you guys look up these whole entire stories. I don't know, find these articles, watch these YouTubes, and I just think, again, this is another huge singer that people are loving. And Rolling Stones even wrote saying that Brooke was kind of known to do these things, which she, from my understanding, isn't, so it's just like all this is very subjective. So, but again, another person that is looked up to and loved for some reason, and people are coming out saying, no, he's a piece of shit. And everyone's like, no, he's amazing. What are you talking about? He made all these beautiful songs. He's gone through all these hard things. He's lost 3 people in a year and he had to go to their funerals on Zoom. And he's, a struggling musician that had to go on couches to couches and just all this stuff, right? Like, makes for real good stories and music and content. And again, you can be incredibly talented and still a shit person. And I'm not saying that this person is, I don't know him. But from what I'm hearing, this is kind of wild. So again, allegedly they dated a long time ago, a couple years ago during COVID. And the one part that I thought she thought was kind of funny is saying that she wasn't medicated. Now she's medicated and she would never do this. So let's get into the story, because allegedly he lied about a lot of things and it's all kind of unraveling right now. So let's just, I actually just want to read this first part right here, because this has been what I've been listening to the last couple weeks. So it feels like every TikTok is literally out for each other lately, from the Hype House wedding controversy. Look that up, Hype House controversy. That is also wild too. To the Jack Wright and Tana Mongeau feed. Again, another one. Look into Jack Wright. Allegedly, he's very into dark things, very much likes Jeffrey Dahmer. Again, this was something that Tana said in the podcast tour that got recorded and sent out, and now it's this huge thing, and now everyone's looking at this guy like, you're a little crazy. But again, go look and Jack Wright yourself. Cancel culture is on fire this summer. The cancel party continues as Brooke Schofield gave her ex Clinton Kane a serious reality check in a whopping 14-part TikTok series. Now, if you're like me, you watch the drama channels that summarize these and you don't watch it on TikTok, because literally just signed up for it this morning. As the co-host of the canceled podcast, she didn't hold back in responding to his subtle jab on January 25th. And let's just say, absolutely don't know who to believe anymore. Schofield isn't just riding the cancel culture wave, she's steering at full throttle, which again, here's the thing. I don't doubt like that maybe this would have come out a little bit more. Probably not in a 14-part series. If so, basically he has a new song coming out and he posted a video saying, when you've been over the relationship for 2 years, but she won't stop yapping. Anyways, the song comes out Friday. I mean, bro, if you lied to me that much, I wouldn't stop yapping about it either. But to be honest, I don't even hear it that much from the content I hear from them. I think it's like hit and miss, but not in a part where it's like she's obsessed with you. But keep telling yourself that if that's what makes you feel better. But any hooser, you guys should definitely go look up this drama. But let's get the Coles notes right now from this. So Brooke dropped a 14-part TikTok, kind of like Who the Fuck Did I Marry series. If you guys remember, that was a drama from a couple months ago, which was also wild. Just to spill the tea of the roller coaster of her and her ex's relationship. And she did not hold back. She accused him of cheating, spinning lies with everything from his age to his hometown, even claiming that his family wasn't gone. And this is some serious accusations. So in this article, they go off to say, who is Clinton Kane really? So for those of you that don't know, I don't really know. Allegedly, he is, again, like I said, a singer who was brought up in Australia. He was raised by his mother, who was a Pentecostal pastor, and his childhood was spent traveling between places like Brunei, England, Greece, Las Vegas, LA, and Perth. And he'd been known for his Australian accent. So allegedly he is from Perth, but people noticed that his accent would disappear from time to time, and people would call this out. And he would just say things being like, oh, I must have been around Americans too long, my accent, oh, I don't want to sound like you guys, da 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 da. Allegedly deep diving into it, and it sounded like maybe he was on a live or she was on a live or something like that, where they were talking about it, and people that went to school with him was like, he's not from Perth, he's not from Australia, he's actually from Brunei, which is kind of just, it's very close, it looks beautiful. I don't know why you would want to lie about being there. Like, why couldn't you just say that's where you're from? That's very close. But it's very close, right beside the Philippine Islands. And it, like, compared to like Canada, it seems like it's just a hop, skip, and jump from Australia. So like I can understand if you were going around picking up different dialects or saying different words. I know that for sure. I'm fucking terrible at it. Do you work around people? My God, we all melt to the same people. So I understand people picking up dialects and words. Like you guys hear me, I say y'all all the time. Obviously, Canadians don't say y'all. I obviously have that from listening to people from Texas, and I just think it's more convenient to say it that way. So I definitely have picked up different words or different sayings. So I understand that, but to claim in full act that you're Australian, and then and it's hard. I think sometimes you believe your own lies, but then your mask slips from time to time, probably, right? And some people, maybe they could do that as being a confident person. They pretend that they're confident, and maybe we won't see in the moments they're not confident. Faking something like an accent or something like that, when you're around people and you're not hearing that, because then technically you should be starting to talk to people like the people that you're around, right? Like, so I get that. I get going places and picking up dialect, but to fully say that you're from somewhere when you're not, that's interesting. doesn't. And again, that place looks beautiful. Why are you lying about it? What, like, how does that make your talent any different? I guess I just get so tired of people getting so wrapped up into their story that they're just not like, just put your talent forward and let your real story and your be it, and let your talent speak for yourself. You shouldn't have to come up with this elaborate story or make lies about your life to become famous, if unless you wanted to be like, I don't know, a storyteller or something like that. I guess you are. But as a singer, shouldn't you just sing and your talents is just there? Sounds like you're a talented singer. I purposely didn't want to listen because, like, respect to all the girlies, and I don't want to give you money. But anyway, so where you're from, accent, allegedly, not real. So what's the next step? Be a little bit nicer to this person. It sounds like this person lost 3 people in one whole year and couldn't even attend funerals and just had to be on Zoom. And totally, I would be the same as her and be like, oh my God, that's so harsh. And I'd probably also dismiss some red flags of behaviors because that's a fucking lot to process. One person over several years is hard. 3 people and that close to you? I couldn't imagine. So I would be in the same space where I'm a completely compassionate person and be like, okay, I can maybe understand why you're acting in certain ways and things are weird. And I'm not going to question that. Would you question that? I would not question that. If someone told me that, I'd be like, prove it. No, especially someone you're just dating, like, anyways. So did Clinton Kane lose all of his family in 2020? No. Apparently, Brooke was absolutely stunned when he first confided that his parents and brother had all passed away in 2020 and how he had to attend all their funerals on Zoom during COVID. However, there were never any funerals for his mom or brother. He kept changing his story and about how his mother passed away, once saying she fell down the stairs and others saying she claimed they had to pull the plug because she was in a coma. But the truth later revealed that he finally admitted that he did in fact fake the death of his mom and his brother. His dad is passed. Not that that's a good thing, but there's 1 out of 3 that are dead and the rest are still kicking around. Could you imagine? Could you imagine lying about anybody dying in your family, let alone majority of them? And again, why lie about the story? My understanding and my guess is that he didn't have a good relationship with them, maybe because he's pathological liar, allegedly, and maybe they know that. So how do you build yourself up to be this scorned person, this hurt person? you know if you're the bad person, you know what I'm saying, like, maybe he's the shithead in the family and he is the black sheep, so instead he's going to make this whole lie that they don't exist so people to go looking for them, just remove himself completely, and to get this sort of fame or sympathy or paint this picture of who he is. And if he is a really bad person and his parents and his family know that, understanding that his father's passed, and he becomes famous, and they know that they're real, they're going to go find them. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to go search for the mom and the brother, and then they're going to be like, that's not true. And then his whole story, his whole house of cards tumbles. You know what I mean? So I half wonder, is it like, did you lie about this so no one goes and searches for them, and you made it so intense that you don't want anybody to ask questions or poke holes in it? Or like, what is the motive behind this? That is always my question. Like, why? To me, maybe you weren't the best person, and maybe you did some bad things, and maybe you were afraid of coming out and being that person, so you fabricated somebody else. And to make sure that no one could do that or like poke holes in your theory, you're going to just say that they're all gone and just completely detach yourself from your old life, come over to this side of the pond and recreate yourself on TikTok. I don't know. That's just allegedly what I think, because I do not understand why you would lie about family members dying for any other reason. Like, the only other thing I think is gain sympathy, and that seems a little bit darker than just having a bad past and not wanting people to know, or maybe you did get hurt and you want to cut them out. But again, if you're a wounded artist and all these things happen and you're so honest about all of this, why wouldn't you be honest about, I don't know. Anyways, you guys, allegedly this isn't true. So super messy, lots of twists, lots of lies. Originally, I guess Kane had told Brooke that his mother was Norwegian and blonde, and then Brooke later found out that she was Asian. Apparently, he claims his mom would disappear for months because she was a busy pastor at Hillsong and had a ton of fancy businesses to manage. Allegedly, Hillsong is an American church, not an Australian church. Again, I don't know these things. These are just things I'm reading on the internet. So lots of different one moment he's saying that he grew up in the super rich elite 8-bedroom home with nannies, and then in another minute he was traveling couch to couch. You know what I mean? So like this is where I think it's like, am I trying to find a story to promote my music? What does this mean? Boy, do you need to lie. Another thing, he lied about being younger than he was, I think it was. Yeah, he lied about being, yeah, celebs have a bit of habit of lying of their age, so it really doesn't come off too much as surprise that Kane had been playing a little age game with all of us. But remember when he said he was 24? Well, turns out he's been stretching the truth by a whole 2 years. Yet you heard it right, a couple years younger than he claimed. And the way that she found out was when he got pulled over. The vehicle that they were in, that she thought was his, was registered to someone else, and his birth year was 2 years younger. And I guess that's what everyone's saying. Like, why would a guy lie about being 2 years younger? He said it was a fake ID. And she was like, well, why would you get a fake ID saying you're 2 years younger? Most people get fake IDs to say they're older. It's not like he's like 18, 19 or 20, 21, 22, like 24 to 22. What is that doing? Showing you younger, but just over legal age? Like, why? Is it again so people don't try and find you, or you're changing your birth date and your year of date so that people can't track down you, the real you? Like, I am so intrigued. Why? Why? Anyways, so there's a lot more to this one, like a lot more, but I'm not going to go on it because again, I am at 40 minutes and I have 2 more stories, so I really wanted to try and wrap this up. So if you guys want to look into those ones again, Tana has been saying a lot of stuff that she's been saying, and I feel like she's not trying to be controversial. She is trying to keep this stuff to herself and also heal through it, and all this stuff is coming out, so make sure you go and look into that. Keep your eyes out. Is Cody talking about this? Is he ignoring it? Is he deleting comments? What is happening? Why aren't we acknowledging it? I don't think it's just going to go away. Second, Clinton Kane, what are you doing, dude? Is this true? Is this not? What's going on? I'm sure you're going to say that this isn't true, but all flags, all red flags. Sorry, Brooke, that you had to go through that. And I think she's doing this a really good way. I think the thing to me is that she didn't come out doing this. She didn't find this information and then go and like spread it everywhere and try to make it go viral. She's responding in defense of her name. So it's like, you throw the first punch, brother. You better expect self-defense. That's how physical violence works. Someone hits you and someone comes at you, you can defend yourself. You're going to throw punches online like this? You better be sure. And this is where I think arrogance kicks in, where it's just like, oh, everyone's just going to think she's a liar because Rolling Stones is like, oh, Brooke's known for this. She's just trying to get clout for her podcast. No, her and Tana do just fine on their podcast. They didn't even do this on their podcast. They didn't even do this. This didn't even come from that. It came from the fucking tour. So look into those things a little bit more if you would like to. But again, remembering that these 2 people, now we've got a YouTube and a content creator, a singer and another singer that people are just loving. And they're like, the other person's a liar because I like this person. So again, you don't know. I don't know. Maybe Tana is a liar. Maybe Brooke is a liar. We could talk about it. We could say, I think my opinion is, but it's when you stand people and argue them as if you know when you weren't there. I think that's where we got to dial back a little bit. Personally, like, again, whatever, maybe you're just in a bad mood, but arguing with people online, is that going to get you anywhere? No, trust me, I did it for a long time. Waste of time. You're probably not going to change their opinions ever. So let it go, as they say in Frozen. Next, another big thing that has been all over YouTube that I've been following is this Dr. Disrespect situation. So if you don't know who Dr. Disrespect is, allegedly he's a streamer, he's a gamer. I don't know these words. I don't know what these are. All I know, this is showing up on the drama channels like crazy. And again, another situation where internet's 50-50, where it's like, we didn't see these things. We don't know. We like him, so we don't want to call him out. And then other people are like, no, there's no excuse. Whether or not you did this, or like, doesn't matter what the messages say, you're messaging a minor. So this article, unfortunately, has Andrew Schultz, not my favorite person, to be honest with you, but he calls out Dr. Disrespect to release the messages to minors that sparked this scandal. So comedian Andrew Schultz has said that streamer Dr. Disrespect needs to reveal what was said in the messages that he admitted to sending to a minor so that people don't assume the worst about him in this situation. And this is also where I agree. So what happened? Dr. Disrespect, his real name is Guy Beam, sorry if I said that wrong, admitted on June 25th that his 2020 Twitch ban was due to sending inappropriate messages to a minor, but denied allegations that he was a pedophile, saying, I'm not a fucking predator or pedophile. Are you fucking kidding me? Anyone that truly knows me fucking knows that where I stand on those things and those type of people. Fuck that. This is a different level of disgust that I fucking hate even hearing about. Upon learning the situation, Scholes explained this is exactly what fans and others will be concerned about, believing that the correct course of action would be to reveal the messages. And I agree completely, but I also find this super interesting. You know, in situations where people accuse others of cheating and then the other person gets like really upset, you know what I mean? Like, or one person is constantly accusing, it's because they are the ones doing the things. I feel like his response like this was a little bit nuts considering he did message a minor. And although he claims that it wasn't, there was no bad intentions, he said sometimes the conversation did take a space where it wasn't good. Now, he has come out also around the same time that he got banned. And I believe he got outed because he either cheated on or was going to cheat on his wife at TwitchCon, which is where he wanted this underage person to like meet up with him allegedly for entertainment purposes only. So like the apple doesn't fall, like where there's smoke there's generally a little bit of fire. I can understand that there's fake fires, but bro, you got banned from Twitch where he was allegedly making so much money for Twitch because he was one of the biggest streamers out there, and he just got banned completely and no one said a fucking word. And the reason is because he was in a lawsuit. Allegedly he won this lawsuit, he got paid out of his sponsorship, but again, he still did it. He still messaged a minor on their private like message thing, which I don't know much about because I'm not obviously know anything about these things, but I agree. And like maybe there's a degree of protecting the minor, obviously. So perhaps the conversation should come out with whatever the minor said completely blocked, because that minor, I believe that boy or girl, I don't know, deserves privacy. And this is where grooming come in, is that person probably thought that it was okay, right? So we look at Tana where it was like, well, he's hot and older and I'm attracted to him, so it must be okay, whether I'm a minor or not, whether that's legal or not, right? So I agree that I think that what he said should be released, but my guess is the reason why that's never going to come out is because it was very inappropriate and it could have led to something, you know what I mean? But again, there's a big part of the internet that's like, absolutely, who fucking cares? He didn't do anything wrong. The lawsuit said he was fine. He was acquitted. And I think that's where everybody was kind of like alluding to for him, that if he would have just come out and said, it's the way he said things, like there was no inappropriate pictures. And it's like, no one said any of that. So where are you coming out with this? Like, what actually happened? Because if you don't actually share what's happening and all you're doing is being like, oh yes, sometimes it got inappropriate, but nothing more than that, I swear to you guys, Scouts Honor, promise, when I'm sorry, you've been caught cheating on your wife and you've been dropped by certain places because they investigated and felt like they didn't want to line up with your branding. So again, I'm not saying, do I think he needs to be canceled and everything pulled away from him? No. But his response to this being like, yeah, it was inappropriate sometimes, but I'm not a fucking pedophile. Get over it. It's not that big a deal. That's not really owning for what you did. And that's not really like trying to be better. To me, it's just like, yeah, it wasn't that bad. I won my lawsuit. Get over it. I'm not a pedophile. So there's no bad behavior here. Where's the course correction of that? Like, what do you mean you were talking to a 17-year-old? Doesn't matter of context. You don't know that person. You shouldn't be talking, especially being a father and a husband. Sorry. You can agree to disagree with me on that one, but there is a million people in the world. Millions. Millions that are over the age of 18. And even 18. I was pretty stupid up until like now. But like 22, 23, like you really still aren't thinking your first couple years in your 20s, and you're very, very, very manipulatable, malleable. It's very easy. Everyone can do it at any age. You can be manipulated at any age, but especially that young age, especially with the way things are going with the internet, like it's very dangerous. And you do have an obligation to be the adult in this situation, not even accept the conversation. Point blank, period. Why can't you talk to adults? I think even more like, sure, you could talk to opposite sex. I think that's totally fine. But if you've been caught cheated on, do you think that your spouse is going to be comfortable with you talking to the opposite sex, let alone someone younger, same sex or not? Like, you don't want to look a certain way, then maybe don't do things that look a certain way. You know who else talks to young kids when they shouldn't be? Pedophiles. So if you don't want to loop yourself in that group at all, stay away from it. And sorry, y'all, the gaming fucking industry and world has a lot of young people. You guys very much have to be careful of that, even with YouTube and TikTok and all of those places. Anywhere I go, I age restrict all of my content. Even if I don't say anything that is worth that, I still do, because I also, as a creator, think about that and make sure that I label it so that the platforms that protect that can do that. But I highly doubt that these people are doing that. And I'm sure tons of people lie, and you can only do so much, and there's some on the parents. But again, there has to be some responsibility here. And this is completely on the adult, just like the Cody Co situation. It should have been like, yo, you're 17. We're not having this conversation unless it's like where other people could see. No private. See, like you can talk to them. Private groups and stuff, like how, oh fuck, what was her name? Colleen Ballinger, all that kind of grooming. Like, there shouldn't be private groups with your fans underage. If you want to converse with fans that are underage, I think it needs to be in a public platform where everyone can see the conversations. No private messages, no private anything, no private groups, none of that, because even if you're not, it could be construed as that. So you might as well just be safe and not do that. And to me, if you're not doing that, it's because you want to be in touch with that younger audience and you want to have that. For what reason, I don't know. Like I said, there's millions of people in the world. Gaming doesn't just have 5 or 6 people anymore. There's millions of gamers out there. So find one that's of age, please. And those that are defending this, do a mental check. Are you okay inside? Are you okay inside? Would you be okay with your young child being talked to? Doesn't matter if they're a good person or not, because you don't actually know these people. This is my point. You can see him online. You could be like, oh, he's so funny. He's that. He's this. He's that. He would never do that. He says he's not a pedophile, so he's not. Guys, let's think about that for a second, okay? So that's the doctor disrespect. You guys, I'm doing so good for time. I have one more story left, so go look into that one if you want. That's more of the gaming world. So we've hit the influencer world. We've hit the music world, podcaster world here. We've hit the gaming world. Now let's go to another one. Now this one actually kind of blew me away and actually made me kind of sick to my stomach when I watched the videos. And like I said, guys, this is alleged for entertainment purposes only. These are allegations that are online. If you want to, I would suggest going to look into this. But if you are not feeling it and, get upset a little bit about hearing about abuse, physical, mental, I maybe wouldn't watch the videos and listen to it, because even if someone that hasn't been abused to that degree, it was still a moment of like, made me sick to my stomach. And what also bothers me about this is that this creator has been known for calling out bad behavior and literally built the entire platform on being a commentator and calling this shit out, meanwhile being one of the absolute worst. And I swear to God, it just takes a couple years. When you have a bad feeling about someone and you're like, this person's not great, sometimes you really do find that out after, and it really sucks. So let's get into this last and final what the fuck on the internet that I have found for y'all on the last one this season. I'm sorry, guys, you have to wait a couple. Well, I guess it'll just be like one full month. Only a month. But you can just go back to the other ones if you haven't watched them. And if you have any topics, especially while I'm on break, shoot them my way. I know sometimes I'm a little bit late to it, but your girl's got to record like 3 weeks in advance to be able to get everything done by myself here. So apologies. But if you didn't know about this stuff, I guess it's right new to you. So this next one, YouTuber creator I Am Alex has been embroiled in controversy after his former partners leveled at allegations of enduring physical assault, verbal abuse, and toxic behavior while they're in relationships. These allegations have emerged over the past few days and have since picked up significant traffic on YouTube. Every single commentator that I watch has done a video on this. And do you think I've watched every single one of them? Yes, because I've tried to follow a variety of content creators, so I'm getting all different sides of things, so I don't feel like I'm missing stuff, right? Like one situation that I find, quickly to sidetrack here, one of the topics that I find is so divided on the internet between all of the creators that I watch is Gypsy Rose and Ryan, the man that she married, and that whole controversy. You've got one side saying Gypsy's a piece of shit and she's manipulating Ryan and he's the poor guy, and then on the other side you've got them saying that Ryan's a piece of shit and he's just trying to make money and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, back and forth with this one, and it's very divided. That being said, this I Am Alex situation, across the board, these women have support, which, like, full body yes, I love that. And I mean, these girlies did it right. When you're going to be accusing somebody of this, and it's, even if it's true, like, obviously if it's true, you want to have your receipts, right? You want to have all of this, because there's so many people that love these creators that it is very hard, just like the other people, like I said, for people to fully believe that, because they are so in their mind think that they're this person, they can't be anything else. Because if they're wrong about that person, and maybe they're what would you say, maybe their intuition isn't good on people, that starts, like, that's where people start distrusting themselves and their trust of character and all that. So I think people don't want to believe that, because they want to believe that they'd be able to call this stuff out and be very easy to figure out, like, I would never be manipulated, right? We hear this about people in cults all the time, right? Like, very smart people can get hooked up in cults. You just have to find the right hook, the right person, the right line and sinker. And these YouTube creators have very good ways of doing that, right? So many creators, including former associates, have distanced themselves from them. So that's what I mean. There has been a lot. I've seen more full body support for this than any other one I have, which is good, because the girls that have made allegations, Alice and Annie, they came out with Google Docs, y'all. 82 pages, I believe one of them was. So let's get into this. Sorry, just super dry today. It is so warm in the Kelowna. I don't know if you guys see my tan. If you're watching, I have a bit of a tan. I was made sure I wore something so I could show off. Finally got Kelowna summer, finally. But super dry. Apologies. Alex, known popularly as I'm Alex, is an English YouTuber known for his commentary videos. His content often revolves around him opening hopping, I think that's supposed to say hopping on trending topics and reacting to viral content. On June 15th, 2024, Alex Hez came out with a statement regarding the abuse she allegedly endured while in a relationship with Alex, and provided a Google Doc folder. With that, it had 6 videos, an audio, video, and a Google document. 84 pages long of the many abusive behaviors that Alex would engage while the two were together, complete screenshots of the conversation in both iMessage. He is literally on camera saying that he's going to beat her head in. What? How arrogant do you need to be to actually record abuse of someone and not think that that is ever going to be found out? The level of ego that you must have, I feel for you for having to go, when you go through, and if you ever go through your spiritual awakening, my dude, it's going to be dark for you. It's gonna be dark for you. She said that these small arguments worsened to the point where he would actually turn on his camera and start shouting at me on the call. He's just gone as far as to tell me to self-harm myself at this point, even though I told him about my past history, and that would be accompanied with multiple horrible messages calling me a whore, a bitch, and slimy. Alice also alleged that he would repeatedly insult her, break up with her, and then take her back, and then love bombing. And we see that all the time. He would consistently call her an unlovable whore, a psycho, constantly saying that he's sick, telling her that he doesn't want to be with her, breaks up, and then goes back by love bombing and apologizes. Further in this document, Alice describes an alleged physical assault on her by him, stating that the accident took place in 2023, their 4th day since shifting in together. That must be moving in. After the pair got into an argument, she asked the YouTuber to leave her alone and tried to get away from him. However, he allegedly followed her down the stairs, grabbing her by the hood and pulling her back until she fell on the floor. Again, watching these videos and listening to these experiences are absolutely disgusting. And then after that, another ex came out about how he just belittles a lot of this in this video that I found out of his own mouth. Like, this is out of his mouth. Just a lot of, I'm amazing, I'm a YouTuber, I do all this, look at all this work, look at all these things that I do, you'd be nothing without me, you wouldn't have a career without me, da 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 da. Just saying that she's disgusting, a whore. I'm pretty sure I'm paraphrasing this, but she let him know about past abuse that had happened to her, and he essentially said he didn't want to hear about it because that just made her more disgusting to him, knowing what other men had do allegedly. The things that people go through and the arrogance and ego that people have built because they now have an online platform and a following of some sort for whatever reason, it leads them to believe that they're being followed because they're actually amazing individuals, when a lot of the time people are just following for rage content, for entertainment, for so many other things, and what the content you're providing, not necessarily the human being that you are. Because who knows if who you are and the human being you're showing up online is real, right? So most of these people are completely faking who they are. That is one reason why we came up with Be Real Babe. There's not one time that I've lied to you guys, that I've said anything. Maybe I've changed my opinion. I've been very against TikTok for a long time. I'm also against being censored and having to rebuild and do all this work to be just shot down, right? So we can change, we can grow. But I've never ever claimed to be that I know anything. I'm trying to beat my ego down as much as I possibly can, you guys. I was gonna say something really nasty, but I'm not gonna be like a 14-year-old when he first got his first Playboy. I'm beating that down. I'm beating it down. I'm working through it all the time. But I really hope that I'm not ever coming off that I know what I'm talking about. I'm just learning stuff and sharing with you guys and talking and trying to grow in real time. And I think again, these people build these personas, real or not, and they attach themselves to it, and then they think they can do no wrong, that they could literally abuse people and it won't matter. But it does. And again, can't go and say I believe in cancellation. This to me is borderline, because I don't believe he's come out and said no or disagreed. And if he has, it's kind of been like, yeah, I did that, but it's over now. Or, you know what I mean? Like, again, it's like, how severe is it? And how severe are they running from it? If they're going to full run into that they were shitty people and they need to do better, and they're actively showing that, like people like Gabby Hanna, she's actively trying to be a better person. She's not coming online trying to be controversial and crazy anymore. She's just trying to do her art, find her place in the world, and heal her mental health. And like, amazing girl, good for you. Keep going. That is exactly what we want to see. But to just completely ignore it and go on and forget that this even happened, not even acknowledging it, that's where I think the borderline cancellation and people calling it out, you seeing all your friends drop from you and then you're still not seeing it. Whoo, you're gonna have a big ego death, my dude. But that's your shit, not mine. Not mine. And again, all of these topics, guys, have been completely everywhere on my YouTube page, not just for my like For You on social media. It's been all of the people that I follow too. So I thought I would hit up on this because I'm like, these last months have shown this theme where whether you're an influencer, a celebrity, whatever, some people do be thinking that they can get away with everything. And although, again, like I've said many times in this episode, I don't believe in cancel culture. I believe in accountability culture and growing culture and understanding, because we're all mirrors to each other. We all have things. We all need to work on stuff. And I think if we could just take the shame and the guilt out of that and the hatred and just come to being like, you need some fixing to do. And that person's like, yeah, I do. And I'm going to work on it. And let's all work on it. Great. I think the ones that we could be a little bit more aggressive on and hold our thumbs to are the ones that are actually hurting other people and not doing anything to resolve it. Accountability, not cancellation. Like I said, you cancel that person, you put someone in jail. Do they always learn what they're doing? No. So you take people away, that person can still go back and hurt society. What's wrong? Why did this happen? Why are you doing this? Let's fix this so that you stop fucking doing it. So again, let's hashtag accountability culture instead of cancel culture, and let's make that popular and get these people that, especially if they're ones that we love, if they're celebrities that we love or influencers they love, that they do majority of good things, and then they're just ignoring this one bad thing, there's nothing wrong. Let's fix that so you can continue being the awesome person that you are. And individually, collectively, we all need to do this. This is just not people that are on social media. This is not just influencers or celebrities. All of us need to be looking at those mirrors and trying to fix it. Have compassion with other people that are trying. Be a little bit more edgy and sassy and spicy to those that aren't. Get them on our side of collectively healing and facing the darkness, because if you don't face it, it's going to manifest, and you're going to just be pushing your darkness onto others. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather look in the light and try to clear that darkness. So I'm just passing light over and over to each other, and the darkness obviously is going to creep up from time to time. That is human experience in nature, and we shouldn't try to get rid of it. We should learn how to cope with it when we're faced with it, because pushing it down, deflecting, pretending to be someone you're not, pretending to be a light that you're not, is going to hurt you in the long run, no matter what. You can't evade it. Sorry, I don't make the rules. I just live by them. But anyways, guys, I did it. It is just over an hour. I cannot believe it. And I can't believe this is going to be the last one for a little bit. Hopefully you guys are liking this segment. As I mentioned, we have one more episode left, and I have a very special guest joining me for the season finale. I'm not going to tell you. I'm very excited, though. It worked out better than I anticipated. The last couple interviews for the season kind of fell through. It's summertime. Totally happens. No mad. we're just pushing to next season. So I wanted to make sure that I had a killer guest to finish the season, catch up on life, catch up on the podcast, talk about season 7, how that went, and what's going on in season 8. But I promise you, I will be bringing this back because you guys seem to love these episodes. I know for me, I just love escaping sometimes and talking about pop culture and what's going on, because it really does. It's all blended together now, whether we like it or not. It is blended into our everyday lives. It is here. It is not going anywhere. So let's fucking talk about it and let's be real about it. But again, guys, as always, thank you so much for listening, for sticking around, for supporting me. I cannot tell you how much this means to be finishing up a whole solo season, running things by myself. I cannot believe I made it. One more left to go. I'm super pumped. Make sure again that you're subscribing, turning on those notifications, because I'm going to be taking a break for a month. So you need to know when I am coming back. But again, guys, love y'all so much. Thanks for showing up. And until next time, bye. Thank you guys so much for the support. I cannot thank you enough for being here. If you like this episode and you want to hear more, please give me a follow at the Be Real Babe podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, and Pinterest. You can also find me on Facebook at the Be Real Collective. Until next time, guys, bye!